It is a big day here in the WTOP newsroom as our first daily news podcast debuts this afternoon. And I'm here with WTOP investigative reporter Megan Clardy and our producer Luke Garrett, who are the co-hosts of the DMV Download. So let's get right into it. Tell us first, what is the DMV Download? You've been working for a while to craft it. Give us an idea. You're ready to launch? What you're looking to do here?
We are very excited about this, and we are beyond ready to launch, Sean. Basically, it is WTOP's version of a deeper dive into the daily news every afternoon. So our goal, Luke and me have a goal every day of picking sort of the most impactful stories of our region that are coming out of the news on WTOP each day, and sitting down with the reporters, sitting down with the source, and talking to them more about the why, the context, and getting into it. And then delivering that to you in podcast form every afternoon.
Yeah, what's so exciting about this podcast is there are so many stories here in the WTOP newsroom, and this podcast gives us a totally different medium and space to really tell those stories, so we can't wait.
Okay, so this is our first daily podcast. You've taken some time to put this all together to make it run smoothly. What are some of the big challenges you face so far?
Well, so making a daily podcast, you have to make a product that is high quality and captures the day's news within 5 hours, right? And so it takes, a lot of workflow and just making sure you get everything right before it goes to on air or on podcast.
We're also doing it on video, so we had to set up the whole video scenario, which here at the radio station was a little bit of a challenge just to get on that level. And then it's just me and Luke who are crafting this whole thing, interviewing, editing, uploading the podcast. So it's been challenging to kind of figure out, okay, how are two people going to get this thing done every day?
Right.
Now, you both have been here at WTOP for a while, and you've been part of what makes WTOP exciting, the everyday news mix. So what made you decide to go from that everyday news gathering part to forming a podcast team and doing what you're planning to do here?
I was very, very interested in taking more time with the stories that we're reporting. I'm still, I still love daily news, so I wanted to keep a foot in that, but I wanted to get more into the why, into the context of it, and learn more about how something came to be. I think a lot of times on WTOP, the whole point of it is you get what you need to know quickly so you can continue with your day. But usually there's a lot that we didn't get to report, right? There's a lot that didn't make it into that wrap that we put on the air every day. And this is the space where we can tell you a little more about the stories that are impacting your neighborhood, your job, your region.
Totally. I mean, when I got here as a producer, there are these side conversations you have with reporters, and these stories just come alive. And so I think this podcast is a place where we capture reporters telling their stories at length.
Now, Megan, you've been the investigative reporter here in WTOP for a while. You've been here at the station for 10 years.
I know. Can you believe that? It's a long time, Sean. It's a long time.
Well, are you still going to be our investigative reporter?
Yes, I am still going to be your investigative reporter. Although I think it's actually going to lend itself really well to that, right? Because I'll be able to take some of the longer form interviews that we do on a story and dig into them more. We'll have a space on the podcast where we can put at-length stories that are investigative pieces that you'll then also hear on WTOP. And kind of sharing the content a little bit, putting something on WTOP saying, hey, here's my start to this investigation. If you want to hear more, join us on the podcast. So we're hoping that we can kind of pair together and really give people more content.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, when Megan puts on her investigative reporter hat, it's incredible.
I do have a hat, by the way. It's a hat that I wear.
Physical hat.
We'll have to see that at some point during the podcast. So your first official podcast debuts today.
Yeah.
It is an afternoon podcast. So give us an idea of what your thinking was about the timing of this and who you plan to interview on your debut podcast.
Right. So the afternoon, you're coming home, you've just gotten off work. And I think a lot of people have kind of their daily national podcast set, whether the daily, Up First, other podcasts. And so we're looking to give people a local taste in the afternoon when they come home, just to really level out their kind of news media diet.
Mm-hmm. I also didn't want to get up at 2 a.m. to create a morning podcast. No, but I think we do want to sort of supplement the podcast news diet, if you will. I mean, I think a lot of people start their day with WTOP to know what's going on, start with a national news podcast. And at the end of the day, maybe you've been right in on the national news and you want to know what's happening in your area. And so that's the idea of this, is just to give you an opportunity to learn more from a local level.
Butterflies?
A little bit. I think it's we are ready. I think it's one of those. What's challenging about this too is everything every day changes, right? Just like the news. But getting the people in that you need when you need them, getting reporters. What if a deadline, a court case runs long? When are we going to call it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of daily decisions that we have to make to get this thing done within those 5 hours. So that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah, but it's exciting. It's so exciting. I mean, even the test episodes we've done, Megan and I have been able to listen to those, obviously, and we can't wait to send them to people to have them listen.
All right. WTOP's Megan Clorty, WTOP's Luke Garrett. It's the DMV Download, our new podcast from WTOP. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.